Welcome to the replay. This is Sean Michael Andrews, and so congratulations. You've been accepted to present a 1-hour talk at a conference. Now, whether you're an experienced presenter or a complete newbie, here's some tips on how to make the most of it. Generally, with a 1-hour talk, the organizers will want you to speak for 45 or 50 minutes. And the reason for this is that generally they're running the room every hour, right? So if you talk for 45 or 50 minutes, then the audience has a chance to leave the room and go to their next lecture, which they want to see. And then also, people can get in and get their seats for the presenter that comes after you. Now, please be considerate and don't run over. If you run over, the organizers are not going to be happy with you, and the speaker that comes in after you is not going to be happy with you. It's really, really important to speak for either 45 or 50 minutes and then finish up. Now, because one inconsiderate speaker can blow out the entire schedule. So find out how long they want you to talk and talk for that amount of time and no more. So how do you do that? Well, practice your talk. Do your talk 3-4 times so that you know how long it takes to do your talk, and you can get all the information in, maybe add some more things if you come up short, or take some things out so that you can speak for exactly 45 or 50 minutes. Now, normally what happens is they'll have one of the organizers in the back of the room, and they'll have cards with them. The cards will say 10, as in you have 10 minutes left to go until your time is over, or 5 and 1, and then they'll have a finish card. And when you see the finish card, that's it, you're done. I think it's important to leave the last 5 minutes of your talk for questions. And generally, you will get questions after a 45 or 50-minute talk. But if you don't, then that's fine. If you finish up 5 minutes early, that's not a problem. 5 minutes late is a problem. But generally, you will get questions. Now, here's a tip. Sometimes you do your 45 minutes, and the last 5 minutes of which is question and answers. And people continue to have questions, and your time is up. Okay, well, in that case, what you do is you say, look, I'll be happy to answer your questions, but please meet me out in the hallway. Meet me out in the hallway, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions. And then pick up your stuff and go. Go out in the hallway. They will follow you out there, and then you can continue to answer their questions. Meanwhile, the next speaker has time to come in and get his or her stuff together, and also their students have a chance to come in and find their seats because your people aren't in there taking up the space. So take it out in the hallway, and that works really, really well. Okay, more tips. Modulate your voice. And if you're passionate about your topic, and if you presented it, I mean, if you asked to give it at this conference, then heck, yeah, you will be passionate about it. Modulate your voice. Now, you don't want to sound like the Fed chairman, talking about projected interest rates. If you're the Fed chairman, then you can drone on and read from your script like that, because, that's kind of dull. But if you're giving a talk at a conference, do modulate your voice and do show your passion for your topic. Speak clearly and stay on topic. Now, sometimes people will ask you questions that are off topic. Personally, I like to answer questions if I have time during my talk. And sometimes interesting things will come up that maybe might not have come up if the person hadn't asked the question. Now, if I get too many questions, or if I get a question that's off topic, then I will politely ask the audience to hold any more questions until after the talk is over, and then I can treat those questions there. So don't let questions take you off your topic. You need to speak on the thing that people came to see. Ask everyone to silence their cell phones. It's just distracting sometimes when the cell phones go off. I remember Keith, who is it? Oh my goodness, I can't remember. goodness gracious, I will think of the name. Anyway, one speaker did something one time that I thought was really clever. He said, all right, now everybody out in the room, I want you to clap your hands together. And so everybody clapped their hands together. And then he said, now I want you to take your hands and I want you to put them out in front of you. All right, put them out in front of you. Now I want you to take your right hand and put it on your cell phone and turn it off. I've got to remember who told me that. That was really, really clever. Got everybody laughing, but it got the cell phones turned off. So, okay, what else? Oh, yeah. Now, sometimes they will be video and audio recording your session. Sometimes they're broadcasting you, so they're doing a virtual conference along with the live in-person conference. So figure out where you're supposed to be to stay on camera. Don't go wandering around and wandering off camera, because then the people at home can't see what's going on. Now, PowerPoints are good. I personally, with my background in the military and government, I detest PowerPoint. We had so many briefings that were death by PowerPoint. I hate it, but some people like it a lot. So if you do use PowerPoint, don't just read your slides. Your slides should clarify what you're talking about. They shouldn't be what you're talking about. And make sure you don't have small letters. If they look up on the if they see your slides and it's just a wall of words, it's not really helpful. So don't rely, and that's another thing, don't rely on technology, because if your speech or your talk relies on those PowerPoints and you lose the files, or maybe the projector breaks or something like that, you're in trouble. So I like to go very low tech with my presentations, and then no matter what happens, I can do my thing. So so don't just read your notes and don't just read your PowerPoints, unless you're the Fed chairman. Okay. I like to use modules in my notes. Each one of my major points, I have how big a section it is, like is it a 5-minute section or a 10-minute section, and then I have the start time and the stop time for that module too. So I can look at my notes and I can tell if I'm on track to convey all my information in the 45 or 50 minutes that I've been given. So that's something that you might want to look into doing. In the beginning of your talk, I think it's a good idea to introduce yourself and just tell the people who you are and why they should be listening to you. It's a nice touch if you can get someone else who knows you to introduce you. That's a nice touch. Make it brief though, not a long thing. Oh, provide handouts. Now I usually get really good ratings. Normally they'll rate the speakers, on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. And I've been blessed with really great ratings. But the one thing that I have seen several times as far as criticism of my talks is when I don't bring a handout. At some conferences, I'm not going to name which ones, at some conferences, gosh, they love their handouts. So I'd say it's a safe thing. If you can come up with a handout for your talk, take it, because at some conferences they will love it if you give them a handout, and they will feel like you really missed the mark if you don't have a handout for them. So that's a tip. Have a handout. Let's see. Oh, I think citations are nice. I've seen some really good speakers who are excellent at citing where information came from. Now, there's nothing new under the sun. I don't know when the last time somebody invented something new in my area in hypnosis, but we stand on the shoulders of giants. But I think it's a good idea when you learn something from a giant to cite that person and say, you know what, this is a point that I have to credit, and then give that person's name. I think it just makes sense. I mean, if you honestly came up with something from whole cloth, well, good, take credit for it. But if and when you can, I say cite the people, or the studies where you got your information from. I think that's a really a mark of a very good speaker. How about some don'ts? Okay, don't sell from the stage. Some conferences will allow you in the last 5 minutes of your talk to pitch something like a class you're offering or some products that you have or something like that. They'll allow that for 5 minutes at the end of your talk. And if they do, then it's okay. Then it's expected. But if they don't do that. Don't sell from the stage. And another thing, don't bring products to the stage. Don't sell out of the trunk of your car. If you have things to sell, get a table from the organizers, rent a table, and you're just welcome to sell whatever you want there, but don't do it as part of your talk. Oh, and don't tease. Okay, I don't see this very often, but sometimes you do, and it's very frustrating. Our presentation is not a tease, is not a sales job for something that you want them to buy. Don't spend 50 minutes for a commercial. The audience will not like it. Your ratings will suffer, and people may walk out on you. So give content. You've got 50 or 45 minutes to give these people good content, so they're going to be enlightened, educated, and they're going to be given a very good impression of you. So do that, and don't tease. I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay, you're at the conference, and don't be a prima donna. You know, if you need something like some audio visual equipment, make sure the organizers are aware of that as early as possible. And you know what? Sometimes things go wrong. These conferences are very complicated. I don't know how the organizers do it. I'm just amazed at the way these things seem to go off so well, all of these minor details. But you know what? Maybe somebody forgets that you requested a whiteboard or a flip chart or something like that. Don't be a prima donna. Just find a way to make it work. Yeah, okay. All right, how about some do's? Repeat the question. This happens a lot when you're giving presentations, and often one of the organizers will be in the back of the room, and someone says, hey, what would you do if this happened? You don't just answer it. You repeat the question. Okay, the question is, what would you do if this happened? And you see, because you've got a microphone on and you're being recorded, but that person in the audience that asked the question, that's not going to wind up on the recording. So always repeat the question. And if you forget, the organizer in the back of the room will hold up the sign that says, repeat the question. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So when you're selected to give the talk, start promoting your talk and the conference on social media. The conference organizers will love you, and also you get more people in your room when you give your talk. Nobody likes to give a talk in a room where where people didn't show up. So do promote it in social media, and go ahead and record your talk if you're allowed to. Some of the conferences, they'll allow you to video and audio record your own talk, and if you can, do it, because then you can use that for lots of things. You can use it for newsletter material or books or, oh gosh, all sorts of stuff. You can put it back up on Facebook or on YouTube. So do record it if it's allowed, because you can get a lot of reuse out of that. All right, now here's a really important one. Most of the conferences receive many more requests to talk than they have slots. And hey, Mariana, how are you doing? And Ken, hey guys. They receive a lot more requests to give talks than they have slots to put them in. So if you've been selected, show up. It is really hard on the organizers if they give you a slot and they advertise you, and for one reason or another, you don't show up, that can really mess up the scheduling. And I mean, sometimes students will come specifically to see, you know, a certain speaker, and if that speaker's not there, it's not good. It's really not good to the people that come there wanting to see you. So I mean, we know things happen. People get sick. You know, relatives pass away. These things happen, and if something like that happens, let the organizers know as soon as possible. But gosh, if it's at all possible, you're expected there, so do show up. I mean, if I was accepted to speak at a conference and I didn't show up, I don't know how good my chances would be of getting accepted the next year, you know? They're expecting you, so you got to be there. Who is it? Was it Woody Allen that said something about 80% of life is just showing up? I can't remember. Oh, by the way, the guy I was trying to think about earlier who did the thing about the cell phone silencers was Craig Eubanks. He was the guy that did that. I thought that was really clever. So let me see. Well, I guess that's about it. But what's your favorite tip for giving good conference talks? I'd appreciate it if you'd stick it in the comments section below. Also, I want to thank Karen Blockenair and Linda Otto and Stephanie Skiba for their input for this talk. And please do share this video. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.